Prachi. How are you?
Hi, Shika. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Did you manage to get your me time at the salon or no today?
I did. I actually
You
went to
did?
the salon but I've come back with a very interesting observation that I made there today. And this
Really?
thing happened, and I was a little shocked. And I've also been feeling a little heavy since I noticed it. And I thought
Hmm.
I could not wait for our conversation today to come back and tell you what happened.
Okay, tell me.
So,
I'm all ears.
So this is a unisex salon, okay? And
Hmm.
there are men and women both in the
Hmm.
salon. So at the time I was there were about two or three men and five or six women, okay?
Hmm.
Slowly I started to notice that all the women sitting there, no matter what service they were getting, they all had this internal urgency to get back home for some or the other reason. Okay.
Hmm.
They were
Hmm.
either like getting calls from home or like some of them had kids in tow. So like because of that, they were even if the kid wasn't really bothering them, they were still
Hmm.
feeling that sense of urgency that okay, like oh, I should not take a lot of time for myself because
Hmm.
I start to get antsy and then I will have to go home. And so, like, there was this one lady who probably hadn't even told at her place that she's going to the salon. So somebody ended up calling her and she said, "Oh, you know what? मैं दवाई लेने आई हूँ और मैं दवाई लेके फिर घर आ जाऊंगी."
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Like I said, this is so sad. Like she wants some time to herself and she has to lie for it.
Hmm.
Then there was another woman whose brother kept calling her and asking her that how long are you going to take? Like how much longer? Is it going to be any longer? Like she was just getting a
Hmm.
haircut color, I think. So he kept asking her. But the interesting part is the brother himself came to the salon.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
He got a haircut done and he's
Hmm.
telling the guy, he was sitting on the chair next to mine. So he's telling the guy that I also want a facial and like a full spa treatment and everything, but I need to head into work for half an hour. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to come back and then I'll take my time and, then we can finish the
Good.
service. The same guy is calling up his sister again and again and telling her, why are you taking so long? How long are you going to take? Let me drop you home. And
Oops. Okay.
she was like, my brother's calling me and, all of that. And the stylist also was telling her that, but वो तो अभी आ ही रहे हैं, वो तो यहीं आ रहे
Ah.
हैं.
Ah.
Like, yeah, no, but then he wants me to go home.
Okay.
And I could not understand this. Like, I'm sure I've noticed this before also, but
Yeah.
maybe I've also felt it within myself. And I started to
Hmm.
think that do I also do this? Like, do I also think like this? But it was such a stark thing for me to watch that the men who were there present, very present in that moment
Hmm.
time, not really, itching to go back somewhere or be somewhere or attend to something. But the women were just not able to sit still even for whatever service they were getting.
Yeah. And you see that they constantly kind of, whenever you go to places like this, they're constantly pushing, kitna time baki hai? How much more time?
Ah, right.
And when are we going to finish? And,
Exactly.
it's
They
like
were
so much
asking
of
that.
hustle around it.
And if the
Yeah.
beautician is suggesting another service, she'll be like, the first question they'll ask is, oh, kitna time lagega? And
Huh.
then if they say anything more than 20 minutes, they'll be like, नहीं 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 आज मेरे पास time नहीं है
No.
फिर कभी आ जाऊंगी I
Yeah.
also do the same thing like there's so many times I've gone and thought like I'll get myself a facial but then
Mm.
I'm like okay but time लग जाएगा छोड़ो और ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि I have to get home do something particular like it's not because I can
Yeah.
usually go to the salon on a free day so it's
Mm.
not like there's something waiting for me, but then I can't let go of this feeling. And I was like, okay, you know what? We have to talk about this because I wanted to hear, first of all, what you think, or have you also experienced this? And I genuinely want to talk about this with everybody
Yeah.
today.
I think let's make that our conversation today, and let's I think talk about that guilt around kind of taking out time for ourselves and doing something
Mhm.
right. And I think we all feel it at different stages. It's just, and some of us feel it forever. And I often have this conversation with my mom as well, around this. Do you feel it? And because there's something called as a mother's guilt. And recently when we were having this conversation, and she said that yeah, and it also comes from a place that we kind of want to feel indispensable in a lot of things, right?
Mm.
And that's why she tells
Yeah.
me that, and I feel that, oh my God, how's the house going to be managed if I'm not there? And how will it run? And how will my children figure out? And it happens mostly when, I'm a sister, both of us are there in the at home and, she's out or she has to step out for something, she will just be like, no, no, let me cancel the plan and, let me not go only, or I'll just go for half an hour and come. And,
Mm.
and we're all grown ups and we're like, we can manage stuff. We manage our own houses and, we're fine. But it's just that, that sense of duty that
Mm.
it wouldn't run without me, or this is my identity. And she often mentions that, we start believing that this is what our identity is. Our sense of value or worth is kind of attached to what we do. And when we don't do it, or we kind of don't show up for it on a certain day, it just kind of pulls our value or our worth down, kind of a thing, like, oh my God, I didn't do my responsibility. And that is the most
Yeah.
important thing.
And that makes me think, on my way back, I was thinking there is so much of conversation around women should be taking me time. And, if you really want to, like, whatever, the whole self-care and self-love conversation
Mm,
involves taking me time. And I'm thinking that if this is the deep-rooted thought process,
mm,
then no matter how much me time you're taking, it is not going to work because
yeah.
you are still going to end up feeling exhausted to the same degree that you started with because you
Mm,
never switched off.
yeah.
You never disconnected from whatever it was that was pulling you away from, feeling relaxed.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, but you're not present there. Unlike the
Exactly.
men who are genuinely present there, they are not,
Yeah.
their mind is not into a moment in
Anywhere
the
else.
future or in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
They're there, and but you're not there, so it doesn't. And no wonder there are so many women. I think my clients also, they will come back and say, but like, I don't understand the self-love concept, or I don't understand this me time concept, because
Mm.
me time लेके भी कुछ होता ही नहीं है. I'm
Yeah.
still feeling tired. I'm still feeling
Yeah.
cranky,
And
and
because there are a lot of times we also end up overcompensating after we've taken the me time, right? Like, oh
yeah.
my God, I've taken 1 hour. Now I will push myself very hard for the rest of the
Exactly.
day.
Like now I
That's
have to
not
be
how it
extra
works.
productive for like another
Yes,
additional half an
exactly.
hour, or like
Yeah.
spend half an hour more with my child, because what if he missed me while I was gone?
Exactly. Yeah. Or work. If I took
Yeah.
a day off for whatever reasons, then the next day I have to come in and put in extra hours because I got to prove myself that, now I'm more productive. So basically, what we end up doing is that even when we take a me time, which is not supposed to have any agenda, but to relax
Mm.
ourselves and just give our minds a little bit of break, we actually end up putting so much pressure on it to make us productive that the whole value of it kind of moves out, right? Then it's just
Yeah,
another
I think it probably
task.
gets more exhausting than your regular time because then
Exactly.
there is the
Yeah.
added guilt, the weight of the
Exact
guilt,
attached to it.
and.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's just another to-do list, right?
Yeah.
So another item that you need to tick off your to-do list and then say that, oh my God, I did this, now I can push myself. So,
It's so shocking, and it's so sad, and it makes me think of this concept I read about like a few years ago,
Mhm,
called emotional labor.
mhm. Okay,
And
yeah.
and originally the concept, I think, was created for like a job environment where people
Hmm.
who are in helping professions or like customer service professions, they have to manage their emotions in a way that their emotions don't get in the way of the customer service.
Mm,
So if, let's say, a customer has called you and they're shouting at you for like some technical glitch or whatever it is, you cannot let your irritation come through. So you have to
yeah.
manage your emotions. So you have to do
Mm,
extra emotional labor to be
mm.
able to mitigate that
Mitigate
response, that
that.
natural response that is coming.
Yeah.
But over time, like researchers who were studying this phenomenon, they started to realize that for women, emotional labor is also seen in relationships.
Mm, mm.
And they
Okay.
applied
Mm,
this concept to relationships where, and I'll give you a very interesting example of this, that you you tell a man to do laundry,
mm,
he's going to pick up the clothes next to the washing machine or in the laundry basket, dump them in the washing machine, add the detergent, turn it on, and forget about it. When a woman does laundry, she's going to pick up the clothes. She's going to go take a round of the house, go to every room, see where there are dirty clothes, dirty linen lying around that she's missed out, that has not landed up in the basket. Then she's going to take it to the laundry basket. She's going to separate the colors and the whites. Then she's going to find the right detergent. She's going to find the fabric softener or the conditioner, whatever. Then she's going to do three different loads for different colors. Then once the laundry is done, she's going to take out from the dryer, she'll fold, she'll iron or send it to ironing, then put it
Mm,
back in the wardrobes, respective wardrobes. So it's so like it's so much more than just putting the clothes in the washing machine.
yeah.
And this is an example of emotional labor. Or like I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go out, to a mixed gathering like of friends
Mm,
and all that, as a woman, you will always feel this urge to get up and ask the hostess, "Hey, can I help you?
yeah.
Can I do something in the kitchen?" Whereas
Yeah.
men will naturally just gravitate to their gang and pick up a drink and have a few laughs.
It.
But women would be sitting there on the edge of the seat, just like waiting for the opportunity to ask the hostess, "Hey,
Serve
you
or
know what? Let
help.
me pick
Yeah.
this up. Oh, you know what? You leave it. I'll take the tray and all of that."
Yeah.
It looks like a courtesy move, but then if you think about it, it's you cannot turn off.
Yeah.
You
You
always
never
have
can.
to be in service.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's exhausting, right? And the logic that comes. So if a guy, like the laundry example that you said, and if he does it the way you said he does it, it's just that, okay, he's helping. He's a guy. That's all that he can really do. But if a woman does it the same way like the guy would do, they will be like, oh my God, you don't even know this much.
Yeah,
Like, why couldn't you pay attention?
yeah,
And a lot of time this also happens internally, right? I mean, we have this dialogue, oh my God, I should have, right? Or I should have looked at it, or someone else around you will tell you. So that whole conditioning is what takes us away. And we are always on until we sleep.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's why, I mean, when I talk to a lot of women, they don't have the time. And then everything that they just have such a long to-do list that they feel that, there's so much that they already have to do that where is the time for the me time,
yeah. And I
right?
think you work with so many women, with a like let's say with your yoga practice, which
Mm,
anyway it cannot be done if you're not present. Like the body
yeah,
has to be there.
yeah, yeah.
So what is it that you observe? Like what happens? Do their minds wander away, or like what do you
Yeah, yeah,
observe?
absolutely. And I think it really also depends on what's going on and, how. And it's usually at the beginning of the day. So you have your entire day to
Mm.
plan and you can
Yeah.
actually figure out how, the tension moves away from the body. But the beauty of the practice, the yoga practice is that it kind of will ask you to come back to your body over and over again, and that's really, it's very challenging for everyone to do initially. But as
Mm.
we build the breath and body connection, I think that kind of, it becomes imperative for the practice to happen. I'm not saying it's easy, but at the
Mm.
beginning of the day, when you have the whole day in front of you, it's challenging. But when you kind of reiterate that over and over again, that that's the only way in which you're doing your practice is by paying attention, because you really can't look at your phone. That's your number one place where your mind kind of, zones out. Uh, it's challenging, but over a period of time, it becomes sort of comes in, but it's always, like we say, it's a practice. And that conscious awareness that this is how I should be doing it, this is something that I can do. And as you build your mental strength over a period of time, it kind of comes in, but I have always seen that it's more challenging for women to kind of switch off.
I can totally vouch for that. You remember last week when we were practicing in the morning and
Yeah,
I had something on my mind, like I was waiting for something to happen on that day
yeah,
and it didn't happen. And I told you, I said, I'm not able to focus. Like, I'm doing the
yeah,
poses, but I'm not able to focus. And then you increased the intensity of the physical work that we
yeah,
were doing.
yeah,
And then everything just poof, it went out of my head.
yeah.
And then I remember you
Yes.
asked me like, okay, now are you thinking about stuff? And I'm like, I'm too busy breathing. I cannot think about anything else.
Yeah, so you kind of have to. That's the beauty of the practice, that it's so flexible, it's just so adaptable. And as someone who's leading it, we have to kind of approach that person with that compassion, right? I mean, again, not bringing in empathy, which we often talk about, but compassion, right? Because
Yeah.
you're at a place where you're supposed to guide them towards it, but they're moving through something which you can see. But you have to
Mm.
compassionately challenge them to sort of come in that zone where your mind kind of blanks out.
Yeah.
Uh, and yet you realize that over a period of time, you've been practicing for a while with me, and you know how it kind of serves you in the rest of your day, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it
does.
becomes that your place to ground into. So, and that's me time. that's your time, right? I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, that's
it's
exactly what I
not,
was going to say. That,
yeah.
this has made me also realize that the whole idea of me time as it is sold generally is through bubble baths or like spa days or, like
Hmm.
salon time or, all of that.
Yeah.
But anything can be me time as long as it like keeps you in the present and it grounds you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are days when I'm feeling heavy or like down and low on energy and all of that. And I'm like genuinely looking forward to the next morning because we are going to be practicing and I'll get to be in my body and I'll get to
Yeah.
experience that sense of presentness.
Hmm.
Always leaves me recharged. Like it
Yeah.
always makes me feel like, okay, I've done something totally entirely for myself. Like that is my time.
Yeah, your body, your breath, your mind, your emotions. And the beauty is that you don't have to deny anything.
Mm,
We can't put this pressure of me time that it always has to make us feel good. A lot of time it's not that.
yeah.
A lot of it's the fact that sometimes it's just got to make us realize and acknowledge what is there and be able to then work with that than against it. Right? I mean, that's what we want the me time to do that. Okay, today I'm in the zone, and then in the zone, what is the best that I can do? Because otherwise I'm going to push myself into a place that's not going to serve my being. And that's the whole practice of what we call as mindfulness, really, that, I have X resources today, so I'm going to show up with those X resources. And maybe the rest of it is not available today, and tomorrow's another day. And maybe when I come back to myself and take this time out for myself, whether it's your yoga practice or sitting down or whatever that you like to do, it's just to take a stock in and then show up with that stock
Yeah.
or say that I'm taking a step back. I mean, you don't have to always be productive. It's okay. You're valuable even otherwise. And that's another thing that my mom was telling me, like uh, the sense of value that's kind of attached to it. So
Mm,
I counter asked, questioned her that so you're busy and your daughters are sitting and you're trying to make food for them and things like that and all of those things.
mm,
And then over a period of time, you do this for years and years together and, you kind of burn out yourself. And so what is more important? Do your children or your family value you as the person that you are or the services that you provide? In this case, being very cross about it, but the services that you provide, because there could be another person like a cook or a house help who can do these things,
yeah.
maybe with not so much love and efficiency and things like that, but they can. But do we really want to lose you in terms of your mental health, your sense of being energized to this? And then the eternal question is that I wanted to ask you, because you work with women as well, and uh, is there really a me time? And does it really kind of, what do you think? Does it really work the way it's said nowadays and talked about so much? Every time we have me time, we put it on social media and say, oh, me time.
Mm. I think I'm starting to personally realize that uh me time is so honestly like every time is me time. And
Mm,
this is something my partner also made me realize recently. We were having the same conversation. And he was like, but then anything that you are doing has to be you time only because you are there.
yeah.
So whether it's work, whether it's reading, walking, exercising, cooking, whatever it is that you're doing, it is you time because you are doing it.
Mhm.
So essentially, me time cannot be separated from you or the life that you live.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And it just made me think a lot about it. And I'm also slowly realizing that anything that I do fully present and I'm genuinely enjoying it. And
Mm,
sometimes that is work also. Like I
yeah.
genuinely, love my work. And
Mm,
there are days where I'm, maybe writing something or like in a very deep, intense session with a client.
mm,
Those moments also really fuel me, and they also feel like me time.
mm,
Everything is me time.
yeah.
As long as I am present there.
Person. As long as the
But if
me is
I'm
there.
not fully present, if my
Mm,
mind is somewhere else and my body is somewhere else, then that is going to feel like time that I need to escape from or I need to get
mm,
away from.
mm,
And then I start, how they call this destination addiction, that like
yeah.
I need to be somewhere else to feel
Yes.
happy.
Mm,
And I think that's where the illusion or the mirage of me time comes in, that okay, me time will be probably a place that I'll go to
Mm.
feel like myself again. But I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's simply about becoming better at being really, really present where I am, what I'm doing. Yes, I'm sure it's difficult in times where you're doing something that you don't really like or enjoy.
Mm.
Something that just needs to be done because it needs to be done. But then if you are still able to find still pockets in your day where you are doing, maybe even if it's 25% of the time, you're doing the things fully present,
Mm.
you will find that that's the me time you need. You don't need then another pocket of time away from your
Yeah.
usual day.
Yeah.
Feel like that. and
Mm.
and if you can add more pockets to get away also, that's great as well, but
Yeah.
as long as you are still able to be present there also, just like the unlike the women in the salon that I saw,
Mm.
that you're sitting in a place which is ideally supposed to relax you, but your mind is still racing, then no
Mm.
amount of me time is going to work.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree to that. And that's so true. And that's why mindfulness is such a, how do I say, rejuvenating state to
Mm.
be in, right? Like you're constantly aware of where you are and you don't feel like you're drained because everything that you do kind of becomes your choice, right?
Yeah,
You move away from the have tos in life to, the narrative or the state of mind that says that I get to do this.
yeah,
Like, imagine you walking into a salon and really feeling that, oh my God, I get to do this for myself. And not because I got to look a certain way, I got to feel,
yeah.
it's, Navratri, so I need to look a certain way and all of those things. Just do it for yourself because it makes you feel good. And then you feel like, great, I get to do this. I get to spend this time, whatever the time
That's
is.
exactly the thought reframe I had to do when I started my practice with you. When
Mm,
I used to, like, you remember, I had to like push myself out of the bed every morning, and every morning my message was right there, tempted to cancel and say, oh, you know what, I want to sleep in today, and then pushing myself through that. And that is exactly what I had to tell myself, that today I get to do this.
yeah.
Today I get to get up and move my body.
Mm,
If I don't do this today, 20 years down the line, I will not have a choice. My
yeah.
body will not give me this choice.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do it even if I wanted to.
Mm,
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that is like the biggest reframe that we can do, that everything I do today, I get to do it because my
yeah.
body cooperates, my mind cooperates, my sense organs cooperate.
Yeah. And it's such a liberating feeling. And
Yes.
even then, when you end up doing certain things for certain people around you, which, yes, there is a lot of taboo around the fact that women do a lot of things and stuff like that. And, we
Mm.
end up doing, but a lot of times, I mean, if we are mindful, there are certain things that we do out of love,
Yeah.
right? And we don't have to kind of, when you're doing it out of love, when you get to do this, your way of expressing love for someone, versus when you're doing it because you're trying to meet a certain standard of a good
Mm.
woman or someone who's a great homemaker plus a very good professional. That's what mindfulness is, that ability to understand that difference, because most of the times we don't know it ourselves.
Mm.
And and we've never thought about it or we've never mindful about it. And then everything feels like I have to, because we
Yeah.
don't know what's out of love and what's out of compulsion and wanting to be at like a certain standard. So yeah, it really boils down to really that. So tell me, what are the places in your life where you think you end up doing emotional labor now or earlier? Now that, we're a little more grown up and a little more
Yeah.
aware, I think things are a little more clearer to us, but places where you end up kind of
Hmm.
doing emotional labor.
I think, yeah, I'm not untouched by it. I think I do probably do it at times. It's very hard to catch because it's such a automatic thing.
Mm,
But when we were talking about it, I was reminded of the 15, 16 years ago when I got married at 25. And I mean, I had never cooked at home. Like, that's not, my mom always used to say, like, that'll always
mm,
come in its own time. You focus on your studies and all of that. So I was like a complete novice at cooking. But as soon as I got married, like, it was such a, and I won't say that the expectation was put on me. I also participated in taking that on myself and not said that I can't do this because I've never done this and I need time to ease into it. I
Mm.
also like to, got into this idea of becoming this superwoman who will, pick up a job and who will commute an hour one way each day and who will come back home and, cook when she has never cooked before. Oh my God, I remember like cooking a simple sabzi dal used to take me like 3 hours because I
Oh,
just could not get the proportions right, or like it used to be such a task like peeling the
yeah,
vegetables, and that's also labor, right? Like
yeah,
cooking is not just cooking; it's like the whole prep,
yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I would do that, and I just day by day I was like cranky and not happy about it. But I remember thinking that no, but I have to do this. I have to do this because that proves that I'm a good wife. That
Mm.
proves that I'm worthy of being called a wife.
Mm.
And today, when I think back, there were times now when I'm angry with my ex, and I'm like thinking that why did he not step in? Why did he not say that, hey, you know what? Why don't you take a break and ease into it because
Chill.
you've never
Yeah.
done this before? But to be very honest, like I also never communicated that. I never told
Yeah.
him I needed a break because
Yeah.
I was putting myself into those standards that no, no, but I have to do this. How
Do
can I
it.
not do this? All the other wives do it. So
Mm.
it should be just naturally because I've gotten married, like this should be like a natural transition. I should
Transition, right?
be
Auto mode
able,
on and off. खाना बनाना आ
right?
जाना चाहिए आपको.
And I think that happened when I became a mom as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
that's
happens to a
motherhood
lot of
is
women
crazy.
there also. Like overnight, you're just supposed to step into or like activate some kind of a manual inside of you where, like you
Mother mode
already know
activated.
what to do with the baby, and
Yeah.
you're not allowed to take the time to figure it out. Like you should have it all figured out. Like when I had
Mm.
my son, I really struggled with breastfeeding a lot.
Mm.
And everybody around me, including the doctors and the nurses, were looking at me like, but how do you not have this figured out? This is like the most natural thing in the world. But I
Yeah.
genuinely struggled with it. And
Yeah.
it never happened properly the way it was supposed to happen. And for a long time, I felt like I had like sort of not passed
Good
the mother
enough.
test.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I think those are some areas where I now look back and I think nobody said those things to me that you have to do them, but I just like automatically imbibed them or brought them upon myself. And
Mm.
I think today I do take very conscious steps to like uh, only do as much as a task requires and
Yeah.
not build this whole thing around it. Or I do small little things to just become more aware of my body because
Mm.
I've recently noticed that my toes stay curled a lot.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah,
है ना?
you
And
did.
and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
during sessions and all of that. So I
yeah.
every 15 minutes I'm doing a check on my toes and I realize that like this I'm like, okay, relax. Just let it
Yeah.
go. So and I don't know what my body is thinking in that moment. Like I'm sure it's processing something that I'm not
Mm.
aware of because
Aware
it's
of.
so tight and wound up.
Yeah.
Just by letting my body know that okay, just like for this moment you can relax, just let it go.
Mm.
I think maybe I'm able to like disconnect for a little while.
Yeah, that's mindfulness.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Nice. And yeah, I mean, I think the two things that you mentioned, they are big landmarks in any woman's life. And, those are the times when we kind of feel that whole pressure and the challenge of uh, kind of fitting into these boxes that have been
yeah.
put out there for us and a lot of time in our own heads, right?
Mm. What about
So
you?
now,
Do you think you do
yeah, yeah,
any?
absolutely. I think for a very, very long time, like of course, like we say, we become more conscious now. So when it kind of becomes a pattern and you kind of understand, okay, I'm getting in that. But just a general sense of like, I would always tell everyone that I was very busy. Okay, just the sentence like, oh my God, I'm too busy for this, or too busy for that. And again, for the same fact that you've grown up and then you've gotten married, and I don't even have children. So I don't know, just because everyone's busy and that's the sense of being worthy. So I'm like, no, no, I'm very busy. And then,
Yeah.
one day I just sat myself down and I told myself, look, I don't have children. So that one sense of huge responsibility is gone. That's a choice that I've made. And I don't have to always be busy. to
Mm.
be constantly in that state of serving others or getting things done or making sure everything around me is fine and proper and everything is my responsibility if it goes wrong. Why? Right? And I think that's been like the biggest emotional labor situation that I've had, just a constant state of busyness in the mind for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything that goes around, that goes wrong around is going to be my responsibility. I should be like on my toes
Mm.
to kind of make it fine. And I think that's been a huge shift and change for me, that I'm like, okay, fine. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong now. But I think it's taken a very long time to kind of come around to that. I still sometimes get into that. I know this is going to go wrong, and maybe, I should just get it done. I tell myself, not my party.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Like we want to control so much, and it's
so
so
much.
inbuilt. It's so inbuilt, and um, it's so counterproductive also because the
Yeah.
more you try and control, the more you are actually setting yourself up for
Yeah.
mistakes or even, just things will go wrong. Like it's
Absolutely.
that's how life happens, right?
Yeah, and
And
that's why I feel very confident for the world that if a control freak like me could, become mindful, I think everybody has a chance. I always tell everyone that I work with that if I, like being the control freak that I've been, if I can kind of become mindful and make these choices, I think everybody has like a better chance than me for sure.
I
So
let's
yeah.
let's hope so. Let's absolutely.
So tell me now, like, just share your apart from being mindful, that me time, do you have like some things that you do for yourself, and where you really find yourself very immersed, and you feel you come out always refreshed?
Mm, okay. I've realized I really enjoy writing. I think writing really just gets me completely immersed and
Mm.
completely like
So I'm going
um
to pause you here for like just one moment. So everyone who's listening, Prachi is a fantastic writer. I have the privilege of reading some of your chapters from her upcoming book. And I cannot tell you what it did to me. And I'm so like, this is a totally unbiased kind of uh, viewpoint. It gave me goosebumps, and
thank
it was
you.
just such a beautiful way in which it is written and shared. I think it's amazing. So yeah,
You.
please
Thank you so
continue.
much.
I couldn't stop
I was
myself.
going to say that, like the 5 years of working on this book has actually allowed me to see how much I love writing. Like I always knew
Mm,
it. And I've been writing in like various capacities for magazines and stuff like that. But working on like one body of work for 5 years continuously and doing multiple versions of the same manuscript over and over again. And I was just telling this to my editor also the other day that when I was finishing the manuscript and I was on a deadline, I used to feel like, oh my God, ये करना है, like इतने time तक finish करना है, and I
mm,
have to sit down and write every damn day. But once I finished it, I realized that I was doing it while I was doing it, and I was also doing my full caseload. I
mm,
was whatever things are required out of my day, I was doing all of them, full client load, everything. I didn't stop anything. And yet I was not feeling tired.
mm.
And once finished the manuscript, suddenly my days felt so empty, even though they were full days. Like there was
Yeah.
writing, I was actually adding more hours to my time to do it, but it never felt tiring. So I think I've
Mm,
realized it that it fuels me. It really fuels me. So I've taken like I made a pact with myself, sort of, keep every week I'm going to do a little bit of writing in whichever form I can, whether it is
mm.
my LinkedIn posts or it's maybe working on another book. I don't know.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know, that's so nice.
But yeah, I'm going to do that. So writing is one thing, and I know it sounds like a very un
Geeky
me
thing.
like activity, and it's not a typical relaxing activity. It's work. It for a lot of
Yeah.
people it will sound like work, but to be honest, to me it doesn't. It just allows me to float away, and
Mm,
that feels really good. Other than that, in a very typical me time like I enjoy massages. I really enjoy
oh yes.
getting massages. But my all my masseuses have told me that if it's a 60-minute massage, it takes me 30 minutes for my body to just
To relax.
let go. Every masseuse has this complaint with me that ma'am, just like let it be. Just let your leg loose or let your arm loose. And it's like it's so difficult. And I don't know why it keeps happening when it keeps happening. But I think by the end of 60 minutes, I'm like, I feel good.
Yeah, you feel good.
Yeah, and one of the things I really love is sitting by the ocean.
Ah, yes. You love
I
water bodies.
absolutely, yeah, I love
Yeah,
water
you told
bodies. I
me.
love the sound of water, and I can just sit for hours on a sandy beach with just waves lapping at my feet. That's like the
Mm.
ultimate relaxing activity for me.
How amazing. And how did you manage to kind of get in that zone? Or after the 30 minutes of massage, how do you then get into the zone? Is there something that kind of switches
Um,
off or
no, I think it's just paying attention. I think it's initially that also used to feel like work. Like I have to pay attention to
oh
relax.
yeah.
You know, but slowly, I think maybe, and I know that our practice has a big role to play in it because
Mm,
until a year ago, I didn't realize that so many times during the day, I'm probably forgetting to breathe also.
mm,
Now I'm doing it, I know because I'm
yeah.
alive,
Mhm.
but you know,
Thank God for that.
yeah, but when we do it during our practice, like consciously when we breathe, I love that time. I love feeling that breath running through my body, and I
Mm,
in that moment I always realize it hits me that this happens to me throughout the day, but
mm,
I don't catch it enough. That feeling of, that life force just like entering your body and coming out
yeah.
your
Yeah.
nostril.
It's
It's
amazing.
another thing altogether. So I
Yeah.
think when I have to relax during a massage, that's what I've started to do now. Like just breathe through the
Mm,
body.
yeah.
And I've started when I'm in a place, let's say like I reach a place where I suddenly find this beautiful moment of beauty or like stillness, I just go into statue mode.
Yeah. Just look.
Like people around me have started to notice. I'm like, क्या कर रही
क्या कर
है? Hello. But I started to do that. It happened to me
yeah.
a couple of years ago. We went to Palalam Beach in South
Ah,
Goa,
yeah. Yeah.
and we were just walking along the beach, and we discovered this lovely still backwater at the back side of the beach. If
Mm,
anybody is listening to me and if you've not explored this, please explore this. It happens after a high tide. It's not always there,
yeah.
but right after high tide, the water fills up there, and it's a very gorgeous, shimmering green blue kind of thing.
Ooh.
It's a
Mm.
beautiful backwater pool.
Oh, okay.
So, chalte chalte, I just reached there and I realized that it was absolutely silent there. There were not even like birds, nothing was happening. And I just closed my eyes and I stood there. And the
Mm.
person I was with was like, "Kahan gayi? What
What
happened?"
happened?
It's like, like you power down a gadget.
Yeah.
So I did that and I said, wow, this feels good. I don't care who's
Yeah.
looking, I don't care what, but I'm going to allow myself this one moment of just drinking in this silence and stillness. It was amazing. So I
Yeah.
do that now. Like कहीं भी पहुंच के एकदम से मेरे को लगता है कि अरे ये तो बहुत beautiful moment है. Like just
Just
pause
take
button.
a pause. Standby mode
Yeah.
in
What
that
do
moment.
you do?
Uh, so I do a mixed bag of things, and it's kind of like different and all. I sigh a lot. Uh, so that's like my all-time mechanism for I don't know, expression or just coming into my body and my breath and consciously kind of releasing if there's anything in my body
That
which
feels
kind
really
of
good.
needs to be,
Yeah.
released. So yeah, I sigh a lot. Some of my friends say that क्या हो जाता है? ये बैठे बैठे अरे
ठंडी
हाँ
आए.
की बरसी होती है. But it's just like, it's just sometimes it's so out of words for the beauty of a place or the gratitude for a moment or just to realize that, oh, I'm alive and I, like I said, get to do this, right? Kind of a thing. It just feels very amazing. Plus, of course, my time when I'm boxing or off in my practice. Practice is, I don't know, it's just like there have been times in my life where I've been feeling like, oh my God, suddenly you feel so claustrophobic and something's
Hmm.
happening. And I've just gone, grabbed my mat, and I've just ran into a room, shut myself out, and just practiced myself out. Like just that moment that, okay, fine, to shut everything else down and just to be kind of there. It's like a sanctuary. So And I mean, it just means that to me. I don't have another word for it. It just really feels like a sanctuary that I come back to myself over and over again. So yeah, these are some of the things. Plus my nightly routine. So I'll take a shower and then I will, do my whole
Yeah.
skincare and then lie down. And I think that moment where I can lie down and look up at the ceiling fan, um, like, it's on and just be there in that moment. And like the
Um,
moment then you realize that, oh yeah, it's another day gone by and I'm glad that I showed up and I did what I
yeah.
could do and tomorrow's another day. Like sleeping with a lot of gratitude and hoping to wake up with a lot of hope that tomorrow is another day. Happens, doesn't happen, I don't know. One day it will not happen, but until that moment, I think there's a lot of hope. So I think these are
Love.
just like some of the things that
I
I
cannot
really
wait to
get.
do that tonight. I'm already fantasizing about the moment of getting
Yeah,
into bed.
it's just like nothing. It's just me and the ceiling fan kind of a moment. So
Uh,
I was, telling one of my friends the other day that it's just such an amazing feeling that the ceiling fan knows so much about you and what's going on that it becomes like an eternal
Remember
partner.
we were talking about it the other day, the feeling of changing into your pajamas at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
And that
Oh,
first moment of lying down in your bed, oh God, like
oh God.
nothing beats.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing is like done.
It's so
And
amazing.
and now there's nothing more that I have to do. I think that's like the
Agreed.
recipe for a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Uh, that I'm done and I'm nothing else to do for today. So this is it. I can shut my eyes and hope for tomorrow.
Yeah. Lovely, man. This is nice.
Yes.
I think
So
honestly, like you said something a few minutes ago, and that line has just like stuck with me that thinking about whether what you're doing is out of love or out of compulsion.
yeah,
Um, I think I want to close with that today because that's such a profound thing to think about and to say because and it applies to ourselves also.
yeah,
Everything I'm doing with myself, am I doing it out of love for myself or am I doing it out of a sense of compulsion for myself?
yeah. I
And
think it
I,
just changed the narrative completely.
yeah, right. It's
Yeah,
not just about another person that you love. It's first you
yeah,
also.
yeah.
So are you
And
doing, I mean, are you engaging in an exercise session because you love the way it makes you feel, or are you doing it because you want to look a certain way in the mirror?
yeah. And so many times, and it's beautiful. And I think one of the things that I feel really grateful about when the people that I work with, there are a lot of time when people come for wanting to look a certain way,
Mm.
and after 6, 7, 8, 10 months, when I ask them, is it still the goal? The goal has completely changed.
Yeah.
It's no more about it. They're like, we don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah.
we really don't care. Of course, the body changes and you look good, you feel good. But if you feel good, you look good. If you're not going to feel good and you're always comparing, spend 3 hours in the gym every day and you're not going to feel good about yourself. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
is that simple. And that's the beautiful
Yeah.
example that you gave of love and compulsion.
You came up with it. I just
Like
picked the
I said, the
line.
gym,
It's a
gym
line that
part of
you
it.
said, and I just like I cannot get it out of my mind. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, and I
It's a
think that
question that I often ask myself. Am I doing it out of love or am I doing it out of compulsion?
yeah.
Um, because it kind of just gives you the right answer, right? You know it. And then
Mm,
you don't have, like I said, we don't have to do anything. I really do believe in that. There's nothing that we have to do. But there's a lot of
absolutely.
stuff that we get to do, which we don't do.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So if you're
it's
listening to
just
us
a,
today, I want you to ask yourself right now that everything that you did today, out of that, how many things were done out of love and how many things were done out of compulsion? And let us know.
absolutely.
Leave a few comments for us. And, like I always say, if you come by and visit us, let us know. Leave a comment so that we know that you were here. And if you have questions for us, if you have things you want to share, we would love to hear your story as well.
Absolutely. This is the Grown Up Girls podcast. And today I was in conversation with Prachi. She is a trauma focused therapist and she also is a mindful relationship coach. She works with people on mindfully stepping into their relationships and finding that grounds that make it a healthy relationship where you thrive. I am a mindfulness mindset coach. Prachi today talked about my yoga practice. So I'm a yoga practitioner as well, and mindfulness is rooted in that. And we are always so grateful that we get to share our conversations with you. So please make the most of it. And most importantly, talk to us. We love talking to people and getting to know your perspectives.
Totally.
So have a very, very good day until we see you again with something new that we think will come up in our life, and we'll just put on the cameras and take our mics and just start talking about them.
Until then, stay happy,
Yes,
stay mindful, and stay in love with yourself.
yes, and do things out of love. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Bye.
Bye.